Hello and welcome to my Isabela build guide. Isabela the Duelist brings a brand new mechanic to Dragon Age multiplayer, and this is the Vendetta elusive feature that she has. The way this works is by having abilities that can generate Vendetta and ones that remove it in exchange for elusive. The elusive generated is noted by the coins which appear above your health bar. You can have up to 3 stacks of elusive by default, with a passive option to bump that up to 4. This elusive can be consumed in one of 2 ways. If you are hit by an enemy, then you will lose 1 elusive coin, but the hits that the enemy deals will do no damage. You can also enhance abilities by choosing to spend the coins. With that out of the way, let's move on to what I consider to be the most effective duelist build. Your first and most important skill is unlocked by default, Bolt. This ability has no cooldown, but does consume 15 stamina, even if Bolt doesn't hit its target, so it's best not to use it as a primary offensive tool. This ability applies Vendetta to any enemy that it hits, and it also deals a reasonable amount of damage, which should be enough to pick off a ranged unit or 2. Bolt is an ability that I try and use alternately between auto attacks and ability usage in order to generate as much elusive as possible, which in turn makes you near invulnerable in a lot of circumstances. I don't find the upgraded version of Bolt too useful, as it can encourage players to fall out of the rhythm of ability usage, which is paramount to the duelist's survival, but some may appreciate the free critical hit, especially when using hard-hitting abilities afterwards. Next on the ability list is Flashing Steel. This is also unlocked by default, and it removes Vendetta in exchange for elusive. It is an AoE attack, which means that if there are multiple enemies marked with Vendetta in range, then you will generate multiple stacks of elusive. This ability also has a relatively quick cooldown, meaning you can use it in conjunction with Bolt to generate elusive very quickly. Its upgrade just gives Flashing Steel a higher damage rating, which I personally think is worth the extra point investment. Flank Attack is my third ability, which I strongly recommend anyone uses. This ability, when upgraded, allows you to remove Vendetta in exchange for 2 stacks of elusive, which is incredibly powerful indeed. It has a very short cooldown, as with Flashing Steel, so between these 2 abilities and Bolt, you should be able to tank even the strongest enemies. Just be careful of ranged units, and units with fast attacks such as Shadows or Despair Demons. Against standard melee units and slow heavy hitting bosses such as the Red Templar Commander or a High Dragon, the duelist is more or less invulnerable due to the constant generation of elusive. My fourth and final ability is Swashbuckle. This ability has the potential to deal monstrous amounts of damage, 700% of weapon damage per hit to be exact, with the number of hits determined by how many stacks of elusive you have. So, if you have 4 stacks, you'll hit 4 times for 2,800 weapon damage, which is effectively a similar amount of power as 4 fire mines stacked on top of each other. This of course depends on your dagger's base damage. Needless to say, this is a ludicrously powerful ability, and I've seen numbers personally upwards of 6,000 damage per hit. However, it does have its drawbacks. It will consume all your stacks of elusive, leaving you vulnerable to attack. So it is important to use this against either a single isolated target or to have a nearby target marked with Vendetta, so you can generate a stack or 2 of elusive immediately after using Swashbuckle. The upgraded feature of Swashbuckle is also incredibly strong. It increases attack speed by up to 20% for 10 seconds, 5% for each stack of elusive consumed. This increase in attack speed dramatically increases your effective DPS, and it does mean that you can combo up to another full stack of elusive very quickly, and you can also cycle in Swashbuckle, though do be wary of your stamina count. Lastly, passives. Isabela does have some exceptionally good passives, and here are some ones that I personally think are most effective. First, Look But Don't Touch. This ability grants Isabela total immunity from all damage over time abilities, providing you have at least 1 stack of elusive active. Yes, this does mean that Fire Wraiths, Rage Demons, Venatori Commander and the Inferno Dragon are drastically less effective against her. Naturally Evasive increases your maximum elusive stacks from 3 to 4. If you're using Swashbuckle, this is a must, for obvious reasons, but if you aren't, then I'd probably recommend against it, as you'll be spending 2 points for not much gain. Black Mark causes enemies marked with Vendetta to take an additional 10% damage from all sources. This debuff is good on its own, but when used in conjunction with my next recommended passive, Dead Men Tells No Tales, then it turns into a very strong passive. This passive turns Black Mark from a single target debuff into an 8 meter radius one. You can mark entire spawns with Vendetta, providing you kill the initial enemy fast enough. It also synergizes very well with Swashbuckle, as Swashbuckle does not remove Vendetta, so it will mark any nearby enemy when to remove for a stack of Elusive. These are the strongest passives that I think the Duelist has, but there is some other ones which are useful too. Hoist the Mainsail increases movement speed by 10% per stack of Elusive. The Kirkwall Kiss reduces cooldowns by 0.2 seconds per attack, which in turn allows you to generate Elusive more frequently. And Savvy grants a 20% stackable bonus to damage when alternating crossbow and dagger use. This caps out at 100%, but can be very useful, especially when setting up a combo for a Swashbuckle. Unyielding is a great passive for when you do need some emergency protection when Isabela gets caught with her pants down, though you do need to go through ambush to get it, so I prefer to use the 2 points elsewhere. Anyway, that concludes my Isabela guide. I'll put my exact build in the description if anybody wants to refer back to that. Thanks for watching, goodbye.